What's going on, everybody? This is Travis from Duel Humor. Back to you again. Corona trying to hold me down, but here I am, sober as ever. And we got a new installment for you today, Training with Travis, where I'm going to show you how to play choo-choo trains as competitively as possible. It's a hard-going second deck. I have to admit it to myself. I'm trying to make it go first, but, you know, we can't always get what we want in that way, especially in Yu-Gi-Oh! But yeah, I got an amazing list for you guys. This is updated Etco list. I would say it's pretty competitive, but I also have some options for you if you're thinking about taking this to a tournament. But anyways, let's get right into the profile. I'm so excited to show this to you guys. Alright everybody, we're going to start off with the main deck here. Show this to you. First off, I just have this really pretty card. This is our Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede. We're only running 2 copies, of which I do have a collector's rare from Japan.
Gorgeous card, man. Damn.
It's very cool.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, obviously try that out if you're going to a tournament. Only running 2 of these. I'm probably going to bump this up to 3 because I'm still waiting for 2 more copies of this. But yeah, I would probably run 3, but 2 also works if you're thinking about just kind of, you know, consistency problems. Also, you know, speaking of consistency problems, Night Express Night, you have to run 1. I'm sorry, we can't take it out of this deck. It's just way too easy. Searchable, normal summon, level 10. You can't not run it, unfortunately. Then we have the 3 Heavy Freight Train Derrick Rain. Detached as a material, pops card, not a hard once per turn. So yeah, you could use it 3 or 4 times, which potentially could happen. Next we also have Super Express Bullet Train. This card specials from your hand, and during the end phase, if it was sent to the graveyard by any means, you know, discarded, linked, you get to add a machine from your graveyard to your hand, so you can even recur anything that isn't an Earth machine as well. So don't think you're just, you know, prescribed to Earth machines, because we can add this card back to our hand. That's right, good old Yugioh. Say goodbye to that Dragoon. We still need this card. If you're trying to go second, this card is really, really great. Potentially you could bump up the Kaiju count, but I do like running this because of its synergy with Bullet and the fact that it actually kind of minimizes those bricks, because I don't really think you need more than these, but Kaijus are pretty dope. Now, with the Etco support, we have our Machina Metal Cruncher. This card is awesome. I know it's level 9, doesn't seem like it has synergy, but it has a ton of synergy in this deck, because we actually go into rank 9s now. This card, when it's normal summoned or special summoned, you can reveal 3 Earth machines from your deck, and then you add a random one from your deck, from those to your hand. So you could reveal, you know, 3 Bullet, and then obviously you get to add a Bullet. So it's pretty nice. I think in terms of normal summons, this is kind of like the normal summon that you want to be doing. Yeah, I think it's really, really good. We don't run the Trap or the Spell Search card. I was running those originally, but those cards are doo-doo, unfortunately. Yes, that is a technical term, doo-doo. Look it up. It's probably in your dad's search history. Machina Fortress. This is an old school card, but I would say that this card is still pretty necessary. There's nothing in this deck that is like, you know, judges hate me when I say this, but inherently summon itself out. This doesn't activate as an effect to just summon itself to the field, but it's an Earth machine, and if someone Solemn Judgments your normal summon, you don't really have any way to special summon an Earth machine. So, you know, this is a really easy way to get a recurable card that also has crazy utility. When it's destroyed, you can pop card on the field. Earlier, Franklin and I were having some duels. I was actually able to get rid of his There Can Be Only One with this by crashing into his Draco monster. Yes, so yeah, really great. And when it's targeted, you can pitch a card out of your opponent's hand, which is crazy. So, you know, I'm not really sure like how you'll be targeted with this, but, you know, it could come up. And where's the other one? Yes. 1 Machina Citadel. Oh my god, this is the card that we needed. This is like the boss train card now. Only running 1 because it is searchable via our field spell, also tutorable via urgent schedule, but this card is really, really incredible. Basically, if an Earth machine is destroyed on the field by battle or card effect, you special it from the graveyard, but what's amazing is its quick effect is that you can target a card on the field, destroy it, and then any monsters at or below its attack are destroyed on your opponent's side of the field. So it's like a Raigeki quick effect. But what's really crazy is that there's really amazing synergy between this and Dora. So you can make Dora unaffected and then target Dora, destroy it, doesn't get destroyed, but then everything 32 and lower gets destroyed. So really amazing Raigeki card. I think definitely these 3 monsters are kind of pivotal to running trains nowadays, with the exception of Fortress. Some people don't like this card, but I would say this card is like, if you're not playing this, like, I don't know, maybe you just haven't tried it out. But anyways, let's move on. So on to the Infinitrack portion. Infinitrack Harvester, I know this card is expensive, but I'm only running it at 1, as well as this card, Infinitrack Anchor Drill. You know, I got these cards way before they got bumped up in price, but, you know, they're both pretty necessary. You only need them at 1, so if you are trying to go budget, that's relatively budget, which, for some reason, this entire deck is expensive now. But, yeah. Basically, Anchor Drill, when it's normal special summoned, Earth Machine gets specialed from your hand, which is really incredible because it is 1800 Earth Machine level 4, so it procs off your field spell, meaning that if you don't have like the extensions, you can get a level 10 onto your field, special this from deck, and then you can get a Pegasus from your hand this way. I just think that this is a really necessary card. It also just gives you a tremendous amount of utility. Its level altering ability comes up quite a bit. Now, Harvester is also just a searchable kind of one-of that gets you straight into your Infinitrack line. I was using its level changing ability to run 7 Sins for a while. I'm not running 7 Sins anymore, but I might keep it in my side deck. I think, you know, it just doesn't come up often enough for it to be warranted, but you know, I think you still kind of need to run the 1 in case you run, or in case you draw heavy forward and no other normal summons. You can heavy forward to get Harvester and then normal and continue your plays from there. So it's necessary. It's a bit bricky, but whatever. Okay, moving on. So speaking of bricks, Trencher, you got to run it. And then also Tunneler, which I was running quite a bit back, I think in part 1 of this series, and now I'm back to running it. This card's actually really great, especially now that we're trying to get into our rank 9. What'll happen is you'll actually get your Anchor Drill out to special summon your Tunneler, and then what Anchor Drill can do is he can target a monster, and you combine the 2 levels, and they become the levels of both those combined. So basically, you target a level 5, and they both become level 9. So pretty interesting. I think this deck is very good at like level manipulation when you think about Pegasus and cards like that. So, you know, a lot of synergy there. And then if, you know, you can also Pegasus out your Metal Cruncher, use it to target it, make it both level 9. So I think, you know, that actually comes in handy. Next, 3 Dozer. So, I don't know about this card. I like it at 3 just because it makes a lot of sense when you're using your Metal Cruncher, because sometimes there'll be combo lines where you'll actually have these 2 cards in hand and you won't need to search them. Really, really great to search your Dozer, and at that point you can Foolish Barrier your Machina Citadel. So, you know, that stuff's all pretty necessary. I like running 3, that way you have the consistency with the Machina Metal Cruncher. But other than that, this card is a big fat brick and will depress the hell out of you in a tournament. So anyways, other than that, it's really, really good. So yeah, I like this package a lot, but potentially in the future, I could actually see myself, you know, maybe actually cutting this entire engine altogether. I just like it in terms of its extension and utility, which I think utility is getting more and more important. You know, 7 monsters, 3 searchers, so it's only an 8-card package, which could be hand traps, which we aren't actually running any as we get into these spell cards. 3 Revolving Switchyard. This is our Rhoda of the deck. You pitch a card to then search a level 10 Earth Machine, so you can search Citadel this way. Also, if a level 10 Earth Machine is summoned, you can special summon a level 4 Earth Machine with 1800 or more attack from your deck. So you can summon Pegasus and, you know, basically you know, make tokens on your opponent's turn, you know what I mean? Like, that card's crazy. What am I thinking? Scapegoat.
No.
Basically, you scapegoat on your opponent's turn.
Oh.
Terraforming. This deck has the ability to go first, and so if you want to go first in this deck, you have to be running these 4. I was almost to the point in trains where I was like just running 2 Switchyard because I thought pitching a card was just way too neg in a deck like this. But now that we're considering going first, you have to run this. Next must-ofs is the 3 Urgent Schedule. This card is really expensive. Got this when it was $15, and now it is like $45. So, anyways, it's a great card. Konami, please never ban this card. I don't think Konami has actually read this card, so, you know, we're doing good. Next, we got 3 Heavy Forward. This is also a new Etco card. This is our Searcher for the Infinitrack line. Also, it can attach itself as a material to a monster on the field, which is like incredibly useful because our Lieb gains attack based on materials. Also, you can kind of buff your Dora, which, you know, is incredibly handy. Because you can give it 4 materials, essentially, in a turn, which is pretty bonkers when that does work. So, yeah, those are kind of like search cards, consistency cards. Next are our board-breaking cards. 3 Dark Ruler, no more. Oh my god. This is where we're at in Yu-Gi-Oh! Nowadays, that it's not even crazy for me to be running these, and especially at 3.
It's a norm, man.
Alongside 3 Lightning Storm. Drawing these 2 cards combined is awesome.
It's not fun for the opponent, that's for sure.
I mean, the point of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is for you to have fun and nobody else. So, and if you can even manage to do that, you know, congratulations. But yeah, that's our 40-card list. A lot of kind of board-breaking cards in there, a lot of utility, but yeah, that's the entire main deck. Let's get into the extra deck. So, starting off, 2 Lieb, you need it at 2, detach, gains 2,000, and it can attack monsters number of times with its material +1, so if it has 1 material, you can attack 2 monsters, which at 6k is basically a Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. Next, we run 2 Gustav Max, detach material, inflicts 2,000 damage. Really, really useful, especially if your opponent has already halved their own life points or done anything like that, or if they've been Uka'd, which we'll get into the side deck there. But, yeah, basically burning, you know, your opponent for game is always hilarious. Cowboy and crack. Next, we got our Super Dora. This is, like, literally one of the best cards in the extra deck, but we only run it at 1, surprisingly. I haven't ever actually needed a second one. If I do want this card, I'll recycle it back, but I'll usually get this card with 3 material on it if I can, and, you know, then it just survives, and if you need to recycle it, you can. But, yeah, I think that you don't really need to run more than 1 of these. You can if you want to, though. 1 Sky Palace Gangarodai. So, detach material, destroy a card, inflict 1,000. That's right, we're still burning for game. And that's the rank 10s. Next, the rank 9s. We're running Infinitrack Earth Slicer. So, I wasn't running this at first until I realized, oh my god, there are so many opportunities where I can make a rank 9, and you can also give it extra material via Heavy Forward, and then you can detach and pop 3 cards on the field, which I just think is like pretty bonkers, but it also has 3,300 attack, which is really useful. But yeah, I just think that that destruction ability is actually really, really handy. We're talking about utility here, and back row decks are like the bane of our existence, so, you know, just trying to burn through those and get negations off. I don't know, it's useful, but I like it a lot. But our main rank 9, if you haven't already guessed it, is True King of All Calamities. Yeah. This card's nuts. This card just wins games. It is infinite Called by the Graves. It is, you know, infinite opponent's tears. This card's great. So this is how we can go first. It's really, really easy to do. I'll actually just show you guys really quickly how this works. And this is why I was saying that you need the field spell, because you really only need these 2 cards to make Calamities. Basically, you're going to normal summon your Metal Cruncher. You'll reveal 3, in which case you're actually going to reveal the 3 Bullet Express because it's specials from hand. Activate your field spell, special bullet, trigger your field spell, bringing out a Pegasus from deck. Pegasus effect, make them both level 9, and that is your True King of All Calamities in 4 summons. So, yeah. We making Calamities trains now, that's where we're at. But yeah, that's great. It's basically wins the games on its own, so very, very good card. And last of the XYZs, we have our Infinitrack River Stormer. This card is so crazy. Detach material, and you can search an Earth Machine, add it to your hand, or you can Foolish Burial it, so you can actually send your Citadel, you know, leaving its ability available to be procced, but also you can just search whatever pieces that you need. Pretty great. Next for our links, starting off, we're going to start with the BLS link. This card is 100% necessary in trains. Like, I'm sorry, you're gonna play trains going forward, you gotta be a big boy, spend that $60 and get this card. Like, this card is incredible. Strikers, okay, I'm gonna crash into that, start banishing their back row, start banishing their links. You know, it's crazy. Gets Eldritch, banish the Golden Lord, like, that's how you beat that deck. That's, anytime I duel against that deck, and then also it just can't be targeted. It's really easy to make. That's why Machina Fortress is also really great. Then, Clearfort Genius, I don't know, man. I never make this card, but I keep it in my extra deck. It could come up. It's definitely worth running. If not just for its other innate ability, which is pretty crazy, that you can basically urgent schedule, summon both of the monsters to its link pointers, and you can add a level 10 machine from your deck to your hand, so you can actually search Jizukiru that way. But if we're talking about a scenario where you're trying to kaiju a monster off of their field, how are you going to get to a link 2 and then also resolve urgent schedule? At that point, you might as well have just OTK'd them normally. But moving on, Pentastag, inflict piercing damage. Yep, we're thinking like a Dino player, so not much at all. 2, Anganekal. Man, you gotta run 2. I'm sorry, I was running 1 and for a second, I just keep coming back to 2. You gotta respect those extra deck banishing effects, because if they're smart, this is the card they're gonna hit. But also, it will come up that you will have to summon 2 of these in a game. Just think about if one of these gets removed, its effect is only one of its effects once per turn. So you can't actually cycle it out of the graveyard and then also use its effect to get a level 10, so you might as well either summon another one or just use its graveyard effect, at which case it's not really doing much for you. Anyways, this is the last card, Infinitrack Goliath. You'll make this off of your XYZ, basically. It's a Link 1, and when it is sent from the field to the graveyard, it can attach to an XYZ material, or an XYZ monster as a material, so you can actually, I've done this a ton, is you can actually give your Calamities destruction prevention, because when it's equipped as an XYZ material, that monster can't be destroyed by card effects. So you have a 3 material King of all Calamities that can't be destroyed by card effects. Pretty dang good, if you ask me. And yeah, that's our extra deck. I'm just going to show you guys the side deck real quick. This doesn't have to be your side deck, but this is the one that I prefer, at least when I'm playing online. We don't have IRL events yet, but, you know. 3, Gizmek Uka, because Hauki Firebrax is absolutely everywhere in everyone's deck. It's like politics and conversation. It's Barrier Statue of the Torrent, Turbo. Basically, they summon Hauk, it summons from, you know, the deck, and you get to summon this out. It's a water monster. Basically, they can't really do anything after that. But what I also think is so great about this card, especially in trains, beside it being an Earth Machine, a lot of synergy there already, is that you could target a Earth monster on their side of the field and actually summon another Uka from your deck. That way, every time they're summoning, you're inflicting 600 damage to them. That's right, we're still burning opponents. I think, you know, that's the whole point of this game, to get them to 0. That's a fast way to do it. Next, DD Crow. This, you know, I'm not running any other hand traps besides, like, you know, these 2, and they're the best ones. I mean, I think this card just automatically shuts down the Hauki Firebrax plays, and the DD Crow is absolutely devastating to some decks that really, really require that graveyard, especially if you're hitting like a Striker Ray with this. You know, it just comes up. But yeah, I would say it's like probably one of the most useful hand traps. Next, 3 Judgment. This is for going first. It happens in this deck that people will make you go first. For the most part, if they're a combo deck, they usually don't even dare to try to do that. But, you know, in the case that does happen, or you're anticipating it happen, say you are going against Striker, this is a really, really great card to actually sight in for that matchup, because you just, you know, Solemn Judgment, their normal summon, that's it, man. It's your turn, time to OTK. Next, Evenly Match. You gotta respect back row decks. I am actually, you know, considering maybe running some more back row hate in here instead of some other cards. I just think, like, Mystic Mine and back row stuff is everywhere, and I think that this card is really, really amazing at getting rid of those things, especially float effects. The Golden deck all floats, so we all float. Next, Skill Drain, Red Reboot, insta-win cards. Also for going first, you would slide in like the Skill Drain and the Judgment. Skill Drain is just so easy to play around in this deck. It turns all of your monsters into like 3k beaters, and you can even still make the 4k XYZ with this, so that's beating over basically everything. So yeah, really great card, and then Red Reboot for back room. But yeah, that's it.
Alright, any final words you want to tell them, Travis?
Right. Talking a lot, my mouth is tired. Yeah, I know I look like maybe like a cleaner shaven Boris Johnson, but trust me when I say this. This deck is really great. I think it has a huge potential. What it's really lacking, I sound a lot like Triff when I say this, is representation. Not a lot of people are playing this deck, but it is really good. You will be winning your games in like 5-10 minutes. And for the most part, it can break any board. You saw all the board breaking cards in there. It does have some downsides though, to say you're going first, but hey, Dora Pass with a Derek Rain underneath it is still pretty good. But yeah, that is basically it. Thank you so much for watching this installment of Training with Travis. We're going to keep updating you guys with really great profiles, especially with Trains, my favorite deck if you haven't already guessed. Follow us on Facebook, you know, donate to our Patreon. Maybe then I can hire a hitman who can kill the band who made the last ban list. So yeah, that's it from Travis from Duel Humor, signing out. You guys have a good one.